The turn-up continues with day 3 of Support Black College's virtual homecoming. Tonight, we've got a sports panel with Chris Paul, Deion Sanders, and Levell Moton. But first, let's hear from our hosts, Darren, Big Baby Brand, and Pretty V.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back. It's your boy, Darren, Big Baby Brand.
And your girl, Pretty V. Coming up right now, we have the sports panel with CP3.
And Deion Sanders, prime time.
And before we get into all that, we gotta check in with the mental health with Dr. Watson. Let's go. We need all that in these times.
Happy homecoming. I'm Dr. Natalie Watson Singleton, an assistant professor at Spelman College in the Department of Psychology, as well as a licensed clinical psychologist in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And I'm here to share some information about suicide prevention. So although actual rates of suicide are hard to obtain, there is data to suggest that approximately 1 million people die by suicide worldwide. In the US alone, suicide is recognized as the 10th leading cause of death, and approximately 13.5 people report experiencing some suicidal ideation during their lifetime. Although African Americans historically have had low rates of suicide, we see that these numbers are drastically shifting. In fact, in a recent report released this year, 2020, for all children ages 5 through 11, Black youth had the highest rates of suicide. And suicide is recognized as the 3rd leading cause for Black youth ages 15 to 24. We also see that among African American women ages 45 to 64, suicide rates are on the rise. Some reasons for this is it's probably no surprise to any of us that increased experiences of racism are a significant risk factor for suicide. We see that as we are exposed to more racism, images of police brutality, these things increase our sense of hopelessness and helplessness and put us at risk for suicide. We also know that there's data to suggest that for African Americans who report using less spiritual and religious type coping, that their suicide risk increases. Another important risk factor is inadequate sleep. There's data to suggest that for African Americans who have more difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, and who report more insomnia-related concerns, that this intensifies their emotional crisis, which puts them at risk for suicide. So what can we do about it? The first step really is to replace the common suicide myths with accurate information about suicide. One common myth is that suicide is a white people's problem. And although historically African Americans have evidenced low rates of suicide due to extensive family networks, high religiosity, and overall sort of cultural factors that suggest that suicide is unacceptable, these rates are significantly shifting. In fact, in recent years, we've seen more examples of folks in the media who have died by suicide. For example, Karen Washington, the creator and blogger for Brown Girls, died by suicide several years ago. Even acclaimed Soul Train host Don Cornelius died by suicide. And even this year, Jazz Waters, the leading writer for the hit show This Is Us, took her own life. A second widely accepted myth about suicide is that people who take their own life are selfish and taking the easy way out. And there are so many reasons why this is inaccurate. First, for a lot of people who decide to take their own life and die by suicide, they actually do so because they feel like they're a burden to other people. And to them, it actually feels like it's the decision that would be best for their family members. That if they were no longer here, their family and loved ones would no longer have to be burdened by them. Suicide is not an easy choice. It is a decision that is often the result of long-term or significant suffering brought on by either a mental health issue or a difficult life situation. A third common myth is that talking about suicide will actually encourage or lead someone to take their own life. And this is not true. In fact, talking about suicide, the more we talk about suicide, the more we reduce the stigma and shame associated with suicide. And the more we talk about suicide, the more we create a culture where people feel comfortable opening up about their experiences. And if they are able to open up, we might just save a life. We all can play an important role in preventing suicide. Some key things that we can do include recognizing the warning signs, particularly the warning signs that have to do with both speech and behavior. So some warning signs about speech. First, you want to pay attention to, is your friend or loved one talking about killing themselves? Are they talking about feeling an increased sense of hopelessness or helplessness? Are they talking about no longer wanting to be a burden? Are they talking about wanting to end the pain and the suffering that they're in? We know that these are key warning signs. In addition, you want to pay attention to some behaviors. Some key behaviors include disruptions in sleep, being more irritable or moody or sad. Also, sometimes individuals may give their stuff away. Increased drug or alcohol use, increased research of methods in terms of how to end their life, as well as isolating from family and friends. If you notice these warning signs and think that your loved one might be at risk for suicide, here are some things that you can do. Number one, talk to them privately. Number two, ask them directly. Are you thinking about hurting yourself, or are you thinking about killing yourself? It is important that you do not wait for your loved one to come to you, but that you initiate the conversation. Number three, it's important to listen. When your loved one decides to share with you that they are having suicidal ideation, or they are thinking about ending their life, it's important to not minimize their concerns, to dismiss their concerns, or try to convince them of all the reasons they should stay alive. Number four, take them seriously. And number five, go with them to seek treatment.
Hey, happy homecoming. This is Tarana giving a shout out to support Black colleges and every single HBCU in the land, especially Alabama State University, my alma mater, ASU. Hope y'all have a happy homecoming. I know virtual is very different, but we know how to turn up anywhere we are. So make it count, y'all, and vote.
Hey y'all, happy homecoming. This is John Ossoff, your candidate for United States Senate here in Georgia. Georgia is home to 10 HBCUs and the AUC, and Georgia needs leaders in the United States Congress and in the US Senate who will stand up for Georgia's HBCUs and work to expand access to higher education. That's why my plan for higher education means no one will have to take on a penny of debt to attend a historically Black college and university in the United States. Debt-free tuition at HBCUs, it's so important. I hope everyone's making a plan to vote. Early voting opens on October 12th. Much love to all, happy homecoming, and good health to you and your family.
Hey guys, it's Shabisia Leslie, and I just want to wish you guys a happy homecoming season this year. I know that it's a little different than what we had hoped for, but I hope you guys are making the best out of it. I know for Hampton, we all got together on a good old Zoom call. We had a DJ, everyone had their little libations. So I hope you guys find a fun, creative way to still get together and show love and spend some time with your old classmates. But I wanted to give you guys my favorite memory from a Hampton University reunion. So technically, my favorite reunion was the one I went to last year. It was the first one I had been to since graduating from Hampton in 2009. So it was my 10-year reunion, and it was just really dope to see everybody. I just remember we walked into our Airbnb, we had everything laid out in the kitchen for the weekend, and it was only alcohol. There was no food. Like, no one went shopping for groceries. We only had alcohol. But it was so much fun. It was dope to see everybody. It was dope to go to all the parties. It was dope to go to this was like my first time going to the tailgate as a alumni. So that was so much fun. Man, I missed everybody. So that was like my favorite experience from a Hampton homecoming, was really like coming back as an alum and being able to kick it with all my friends and actually have some money in our pockets because we got jobs.
What's up, it's Lance Gross, and I gotta take a moment to wish everybody, my fellow HBCU students and alumni, happy homecoming. Now, we're not used to homecomings like this, and we're living in a virtual world nowadays, but yeah, shout out to Support Black Colleges for keeping the vibe going and intact. Now, if we talk about homecoming, I gotta talk about my favorite homecoming experience, which is at Howard University, my freshman year, 2000. We were on the yard, it was Yard Fest, and Jay-Z shut it down. I mean, it was a surprise performance. Howard couldn't afford him at the time, and he ended up performing for free. That's how the spirit moved him, and it was him, it was Memphis Bleak, Beanie Siegel, Freeway, and they completely rocked that crowd. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, and it definitely goes down in my favorite homecoming experience at Howard University. So yeah, here we are today in this virtual world, trying times, but make sure you do me one favor. Make sure you go out there and vote, because your voice needs to be heard. Your vote does count, and we need to get that man out of office. So Lance Gross signing off.
Hey everyone, Candace Parker, the Los Angeles Sparks. I want to wish everybody a happy homecoming. I hope you have an amazing time at this event. Shout out to Support Black Colleges for putting on this amazing event that everybody is able to enjoy and look forward to. And lastly, it's so important this election to get out and exercise your right to vote. Our ancestors fought long and hard for us to have this opportunity, so please use it.
Yo, what's happening?
What's up, Big Timer?
Ain't nothing. Where you at?
I'm at the crib, man. Just got finished shooting a little show.
Vel, what up, Vel?
CP3, what's happening, man? Prime.
What's up, boss, man? How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm on here with two legends, man. I don't know how to act right now, man.
Man, we on here with an active legend. That's what we on here with, an active legend.
So this year I've had an unbelievable ability to use my platform in order to amplify HBCUs, right? And so it's been really dope and exciting on behalf of Support Black Colleges and Universities, because there's no homecomings this year, right? There's no homecoming, so people don't get that excitement of being at an HBCU or the step shows and conversations and the concerts. We decided to try to do a conversation here. So I'm glad to be joined by these two legends. And I just want to ask y'all a few questions, man. And we got Coach Prime here and we got Levell here. And so I want to start with you, Vel. Like, what was it like for you in becoming the coach at North Carolina Central?
Man, it was double personal and emotional for me, man, because, you know, not too many coaches in this business have the opportunity, whether it's football or basketball, to return to their alma mater and coach. Right. So I was returning to, you know, a place that really nurtured me since I was a 17-year-old kid, from the time I got on campus and became the man that I ultimately became. And I was just so happy that they believed enough in me, because I didn't have a long resume, right? And I'm not so sure I would have got that opportunity anywhere else except for my alma mater. So, you know, once it was 2009, once I returned and was afforded the opportunity, man, and, you know, it's deeply personal to me. So I tell fans, look, y'all can't complain to me about anything that's not going your way, because I got blood, sweat, and tears out there. So I got more passion for this than you'll ever know. So it's deeply personal for me, man. And I've been super excited for the opportunity.
Man, that's dope. And Coach Prime over here, which is crazy for me, is because, Vel, you know, like, you feel like when you in the know, you know everything that's going on or whatnot. I didn't know. I didn't know this was going on. I didn't know this was going on. So I was just like anybody else, you know, picked up the gram and I seen that and I seen his entrance and everything. And I said, I'd actually watched, I think I watched one of your son's high school games and I seen you on the sidelines and somebody asked you one time, like, are you going to go to coaching? And you was like, oh, I'm working on something. And I'm sitting over there like, where are you going to Florida State? What are you doing? So tell us how all that even came to be as far as Jackson State.
Well, I interviewed at a couple Power Fives last year, and I knew that I nailed the interview, fellas. I mean, I'm talking about, I knew that I knocked it out of the park. Then they both came back for a second interview, came out to the ranch, and I knew I was in there. I had a staff that was unbelievable, just couldn't wait to make that move, and I didn't get it. And I wasn't sad, but I was like, Lord, I trust you. You must got something else. And that same time, I had already went back to Talladega College with the fast track program to finish my degree at HBCU. So I actually got my degree last year, but we just got around to marching because of the COVID and everything this year. So I remember being on the stage and I told them, you guys have no idea how impactful this is going to be. Just wait. In a few more weeks, you're going to see how it plays out. And then when it played out and when we first got the call and I started really thinking about Jackson State, I was like, you know what? God, I see what you're doing. I see why. I see in the big scheme of things, because we didn't know how our country was going to be and all the dysfunction and the adolescence and the social injustices that's going on. And it just, everything just fit and it clicked. And I said, you know what? I feel good about it. We're going to go 100 miles an hour. We're not going to look back. And it happened. And I really feel like being on that stage, guys, that's the first time in my career, Hall of Fame's everything, that I really felt like I was at home with my people in the 100% directly in the will of God. And it broke me. It shattered me inside. And I feel so good about it. You have no idea. Coach, you know how it is. I can't wait, man. I can't wait, Chris. I can't wait to get on that grass, man.
Just that energy, man. I'm telling you, because even the way you brought it in, right? Like everybody went crazy that day, didn't they, Vel? Everybody just went crazy. I mean, I think about me as a kid emulating you. Like I used to, I just have a bandana on, you know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff. Like everybody stepping, everybody stepping.
Hey, Vel, he aging me, ain't he, Vel? He aging me in a nice one.
Yes, I do. I still do the dance. Everybody got to do the prime, man.
I'm just telling you, man, everybody always say, people do it for the culture or what reasons you do it for, man. I think sometimes you're just in it and you don't realize how you just energize so many people, right?
Thank you.
So
that means a lot, man.
I say thank you for that. And then I go back to you, Vel, and just knowing, like I'm North Carolina born and raised. Deion, he been an old head of mine for years. You know what I'm saying? Just shared knowledge on us. But for you having the program at Central and just winning, right? Like winning over and over. Just talk to us about how you maintain like that winning program like you do.
Man, you know what's crazy, man? I try to follow so many people and learn so many things, right? Because we were talking about, this health and your diet. And what I found out is diet is more than what you just eat and drink. It's what you consume. It's who you follow on social media, who you allow in your mentality and all this. So I'll give you the Cliff Note version. I was watching something with Will Smith, man. And it said whenever it was with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, his last episode, the last year, they offered him $1 million per episode for 12 episodes. And he declined it because he wanted to go on the big screen. So his manager at the time, I think, was Benny Medina, who was that's who the Fresh Prince was actually based off of. He told him, Will told Benny Medina and said, like, yo, get me the 10 highest grossing movies of all time, right? And Benny bought it back to him. And what he found within that movie script was that all of the top 10 grossing movies of all time was sci-fi, science fiction, and they all had an animal in it. So that's where the ETs and the Jaws and all of that thing. And so he studied that And so that's when he went and did Independence Day and his career took off, right? And so when I got the job at North Carolina Central, we were transitioning from Division II to Division I. So the first thing I went to my sports information director and said, yo, what's the average margin of defeat that we're having? And we were getting beat by 40 a game, CP and Prime, like 40 a game. Wow. So you ain't even coaching, you a guidance counselor. You know what I'm saying? At that
I ain't know none of this, Bill. I ain't know none of this.
We were getting beat by 40 a game, like we weren't good enough, just ain't had the money, the resources, and so on and so forth. So I looked at the MEAC last 10 champions, just like Will Smith. And I said, like, I had my vision and what I wanted to, implement. But I looked at the champions and I studied it just like Will Smith and Benny Medina. And the one thing I found is that the last 10 champions was also the oldest teams in the league. So I knew the way I wanted to build it, I couldn't build it that way if I wanted to be successful, because historically they said you got to be older to compete. And once I got older, I started competing not only in our league, but nationwide, where we beat some ACC schools, where we beat some SEC schools. And that's how you got to garner the respect, because the truth is, they don't care if you just winning in the SWAC and the MEAC. They're like, right. But once you hit them in the mouth nationally, that's when you get the respect. You know what I'm saying? So Prime, it's like if you ran it back, a couple of games against a Division II at Florida State, they like, no. You went back there against Clemson and said, look, everybody get up because this one going back. That puts you on it's a different thing. It's like going against Jerry.
You are confirmation, Chris. This brother is confirmation right now, man. After we won a game last Friday night, a young brother, you know how when you're a coach now, everybody's trying to get at you. So a young brother came out of Houston trying to get at me. Hey, man, I got recruits for you. I'm like, first of all, I can't talk about that right now. That's illegal. Second of all, I say, tell me this. The recruits you're trying to bring to me, would Dabo Swinney take them? Would Nick Saban take them? If they wouldn't take them, don't bring them to me. I'm not selling for nothing less than that. So we got to change the whole mindset and thought process. I was never drafted or solicited or recruited by HBCU. Why? They didn't think they had a chance to get me. Right. I don't know why.
Right.
But I'm going after dogs, man. If they're good enough to play for them, why you ain't good enough to play for me? Our coaching staff have the same expertise and knowledge and then some. And not only that, we know the culture. We know you. We know what you need. And it's a win-win. I want to see you successful. I want to see you be a professional, not just a professional athlete, a professional. Dog, if you stop right now, Chris, you still a professional, man, because of what you've done with your career. Coach Levell, let me tell you something, man. This brother here, I did something with him. It had to be 15 years ago.
I forgot about that. We did the ATP thing in Oklahoma.
Dude, this little bitty house that he was comfortable in, even though he was this dude. And I looked at him. I remember we went bowling and his competitive nature. And I was like, hey, man, this dude right here is going to be that dude because of the way he thinks about things. But yet and still, he was humble enough to be in this little crib. And he was still that dude. And to see you now, dog.
Hey, me and my brother
that's unbelievable, man.
Me and my brother had that house in Oklahoma. We was paying like $750 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bedroom. Me and my
it wasn't 2,500 square feet. It was 2,500.
Hey, but we was good. I forgot about that, Prime. Man. Yeah. And I think that's what's so dope about me even being in this combo with y'all is that we got Prime going right into it. And Bill, you've been in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so my question to you, Prime, too, is what are you most looking forward to? Right.
The day-to-day. I'm most looking forward to day-to-day in molding these young men, these young adults into men and getting them to think outside the box, getting them to understand not only are you an athlete, but you're a man, but you're a professional. You have endorsement potential. You have ownership potential, entrepreneurial potential, just to get them seasoned and poised of being young men and just to take advantage of every opportunity. We're going to have marketing. I'm going to teach these boys how to go get it. 2021, what they could do. They could get paid by their likeness. Oh, I'm going to teach them how to go get it. But that's grooming themselves, being professional enough to articulate themselves, how to look in that camera and win. It's so many different things that I cannot wait to get on campus and to get into their lives, to keep in contact with their parents, their family structure, to let them know how they're doing. And a lot of people forget about that, Coach. You got to tell mama and them how the baby doing. You have promised them the world, and then when you get them, you forget about them.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's what's so dope too, that you're gonna teach them all that as far as marketing and who you are. But the thing that you also never let up on is you gotta perform.
You gotta perform.
You know what I'm saying? Like all that marketing you say, it don't mean nothing. Like you was prime, but you was on the baseball field, you was on the football field. You got to be nice. You got to the craft.
People sending me tape left and right now. I say, you know what? Send me practice. I don't want no game. Send me practice. Because I want to see him at practice.
Right.
Because if he's a dog in practice, he's going to be a dog on Saturday. You know?
that game tape, they'll catfish you. They'll put your face on it. Like, oh, he nice. Like, nah, man. On highlight tapes, they never drop a pass. They never miss a shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, y'all tell me this too. Because a lot of times, especially when I'm championing HBCUs or whatever, it's people that's always like, oh, he ain't go to one. You know what I mean? And I'm doing the same thing as you, Prime. Like I said, is graduating from Winston-Salem State. But y'all, like right now, Vel, you go first. Tell us why people should consider HBCUs.
Man, it's a multitude of reasons, man. Number one is, and I've always said this because I was an educator for a couple of years in the middle school and also high school. And this is the one thing that we all have in common. And that is, in your 10th grade, 11th grade history book, that book may have been 300 pages, but you only learned about 5 Black people. Only 5. And it was the same ones too. So it was Harriet Tubman. They told you she freed some slaves. That was a paragraph.
Oh, good,
a little bit of Jackie Robinson. Some Martin Luther King. They ain't tell you the whole truth about him. They gave you some Rosa Parks. They ain't tell you about her judicial background. They just said she was a seamstress that was tired on the bus that day. And they might have gave you some Hank Aaron, and this generation might get some Michael Jordan and Obama. You know what I'm saying? But it stops there. Once you enter North Carolina Central, or any other HBCU, or Jackson State, or Winston-Salem State, the first thing you realize is that you are now understanding and getting an education about the most important person in the world, and that's yourself. Because if you don't know who yourself is, you can't know your history, your ancestry. You don't respect any of those things, right? And so now you're getting an education that's valued before 1865. You're understanding the Black experience before 1865. And then you're going to understand the Black experience after 1865. We're 5 minutes away from Duke. Duke is always on our campus. They're going to go play 2.5 hours in Cameron Indoor. But when they done, the Mother 22, they on our campus because they're receiving the culture. And it's an education unlike anything, man. And my thing is, the majority of the NFL looks like us. The majority of pro basketball looks like us. I almost shared it a tea, and I reached out to Prime to say, like, look, it ain't nothing I can do, but if I ever need anything, if I can ever help you in any way, just let me know, because I was so proud of that brother. Because guess what, man? I just saw Jalen Ramsey sign a mega deal. I just saw Humphrey from Baltimore sign a mega deal. The only reason they signed that mega deal is because this man in this screen said, look, cornerbacks ain't getting paid. And so he entered his alter ego Prime Time, right? And it wasn't as popular at the time, but look what he's done to create generational wealth for so many other families and Black men. And that's the gift that we have at a HBCU, not as far as our talent, but just our ancestry and our giving, where we can lay this thing generation to generation. And that's how it's supposed to be done. Right? That's what everybody else do. Every other nationality and ethnicity do it for their people. We need to get back to doing it for our people.
And I love where you put that comma right there. A lot of people talk it, but they're not walking it. And I'm thankful to be on this conversation with 2 brothers that are flat out doing it. When I chose to go to Atlanta, I went to an All-American function when I was in college, and we went to the city of Atlanta for that function. And I got off that plane and saw all them brothers and sisters in the airport. I said, oh my God, We went to the hospital. I saw Black doctors, Black nurses and surgeons. I said, oh my God, I ain't never seen nothing like that before. The chief of police was Black at that time. I mean, city officials were Black. It blew my mind, the city of Atlanta. So I went back and told the 4 teams that was drafting prior to Atlanta, hey man, you pick me up playing baseball, don't even try it. Because something about the ethnicity of Atlanta did something for me. And I've always been endeared to the Atlanta Falcons in that I call it Willy Wonka, that chocolate factory. I just loved it.
He said the Willy
So
Wonka.
finally, when you get an opportunity to not only embrace it, but embody it, man, it's unbelievable. The culture, I always said, I wish we could have the enormity of the crowd, 70 and 80,000 like the Power Fives, but I want the feeling, the passion of the bands and the HBCUs. Give me that. I want the numbers, but give me that other part too. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the table, that other part. And it's so vital that we provoke change in our own communities first. We keep talking about what we should do and this matter. Now they're not going to respect us until it matters to us first. Right. And that's what we're trying to do, man. Just make certain that it matters to us first and foremost, man. And I thank you for reaching out to me. I'm going to call you because you know there's a lot of hiccups that I'm going to occur, and you know there's a lot of ignorance that I'm going to have to deal with, and I'm going to call you because you know what the main thing is, Chris, Levell, we could go on social and see a whole bunch of likes, but we see one hate from somebody that look like us, and that affects us, man. You know why? Because we want that love from our people. We just want it. We yearn for it, and we want it. And when we get that ignorance from our people, that throws up. We could avoid those 99 great comments, but that one would just get us off. That's the one.
That's the one that hurts.
That's the one that hurts.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, man. For me, shoot, I'm 35 years old now, and to be able to talk to y'all and even to gain this wisdom, right? Because so much we do on our own, right? Like we be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that by myself. But the more we come together and do stuff like this, I'm sure y'all on calls, talks all day, every day. Man, I just learned so much right now. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. This is dope. This is real cool. And the more that we have conversations and stuff like this and keep collabing, and no matter what school you are at HBCU, you know what I'm saying? So we all part of a big family, man. So I can stay on here all day and ask questions and talk to y'all all day.
Let's do it, man, because what I'm so proud of you from is, and I tell my team this all the time, man, like people don't understand, and Chris Paul, you get it a little differently. You understand because you've been nobody else but Chris Paul. Prime has never been anybody else but Prime. And that's the less than 1%. But so many people look up to y'all and dream to y'all about being y'all and blazing that trail. And I'm completely honest with them. And that's part of the process is like, yo, I don't care how much you go out there on that field and go in and out of cones. Prime ran a 4.240. Prime, you ain't gonna be able to do that. Like that's God, right? Chris, you were probably, and I told my team this, you were probably the only guy in the NBA that played 2 years of JV basketball. I can't think of anyone else. You follow what I'm saying? So your pathway, they looking at you now, but yo, you had to fight your way through. And so I appreciate the humility that you've displayed and shown by advocating for us, because what it's done is just bring attention. And once you bring attention, then that can start the curiosity and say, hey, why is he wearing these shoes and that shoes? Let me Google this school. Our website got the most hits just because you decided to put on some North Carolina Central shoes. And now it's generating so much attention. Jackson State, although they've had the great Walter Payton and Jackie and all those guys, when Prime got there, it's generated so much attention. So we're talking about the change. That change can never be provoked until attention and awareness is brought there, man. So I appreciate everything that you've done, not only for HBCUs, but just everyone in general, man, and just putting that all together for us, man. It means the world, trust me.
You know what's so funny with guys? When I got there, I had a bunch of meetings. I had to meet with everybody and their mama. You know how you got to run through the car wash and meet with everybody. And I was happy about it. But they said, now what do you want to do? So day 2, I said, I need to meet with all the clergy in the area. I need to meet with all the pastors, the preachers and everybody. So I let them know what I'm gonna need for them to help me with these kids, because these kids is really, I'm old school, man. It takes a village. It takes a true village. Then later on that evening, I say, you know what? Somebody need to get me in touch with. I need the gangbangers. I need the dope dealers. I need everybody who's making it happen on the streets in the city. I need to see them, because I need to let them know it's a different game now. So I need you to help me with these kids. Even though you do what you do, I need you to keep my babies clean, because if they get dirty, it's everywhere. And y'all trying to do this, you're trying to do that. Everybody gonna be dried up if we don't be successful. The more successful that we are, everybody's happy, everybody's thankful, everybody appreciative. So I met with all these type of people to touch everything in the community, man, to bring all of us together. I would lose if I'm winning games, but the crime rate is the same. I'm losing if I'm winning games and teenage pregnancy is still alarming. I'm losing if I'm winning a game to murder. We're still murdering people right around the corner from the stadium. So I got to be able to touch all of those entities to bring them up and to bring peace. On the 21st, man, we bringing the hood together, man. I got some real OGs gonna get up on the stage and say, hey, man, you know me and him at war. We're gonna stop all that foolishness. We're gonna have peace, because it's a new day here in Jackson, and we got to be as one. We got to unite. And those are the kind of things as brothers, man, and Chris, that you've been doing since you've been up, and you've been up for a long time. So we appreciate this platform that you've given us, because we old school, we old heads, man. But you know, when you push your button, please, just like he said, when you just tweeted with the Central shirt on, man, everybody goes crazy because you in it. This is your generation.
Y'all dropped some real gems, man. That's why I can't wait to get all this and put it together, because it's important. It's important. And I think even for me being in the league, right? It's crazy, because I started a few years ago, like champion, like Black designers, right? That was all the clothes that I was wearing or whatnot. And then it started with a Texas Southern hoodie that I wore. You know what I mean? And the HBCUs is just in me, right? My two little cousins there went to A&T. I always say my pops, which I didn't find that out until quarantine, that my pops went to Winston-Salem State. But I was like, Dad, how long you went? He went for a semester because he was always in the gym. You know what I mean? So like, just to find that little stuff out, man. And one of the big things that you said is a lot of times people will go to a HBCU, but you don't know necessarily about other ones. What's been cool for me is that every time I wear a certain school or whatnot, I do some research on it. I find out why the school was created. See, that's the thing that people got to start learning, right? Is why this HBCU, exactly, why it was created. It was because they weren't allowed to be educated at other places. So to dive into all of this, and it's what you said, Vel, and that's why I'm always listening, education. And with y'all two at the helms of y'all programs, and sure other schools are doing it, but we're going to keep doing it, man. I salute y'all, man. I appreciate y'all.
No, it's love. It's that education, man, that everybody, you know, must learn. And, you know, don't forget, man, I tell people we were considered 3/5 of a person, man. As our ancestors, if they were caught trying to read or write or educate themselves, they would be killed, right? So HBCUs was established as alternative means of education for us, right? And everybody was cool with that. Everybody was cool with that segregation. That's why if you look at the first wave of Hall of Famers in football, you know, in Prime, I had the opportunity to coach Jabri Blunt. His daddy is Mel Blunt, right? Wow. Absolutely love, you know what I'm saying? And so that first wave, the Mel Blunts, the Larry Littles, the Donnie, like all of those guys, HBCUs. The same thing with basketball, Earl the Pearls and all those guys, Willis Reed, all those guys was HBCUs. And then I think it kind of changed in 72 when, if I ain't mistaken, Alabama played USC. And Sam Cunningham went crazy and ran all over him. And now the SEC said, no, man, we got to recruit dudes like this, right? And so now they started recruiting the Black athlete because they knew financially how it would, you know, enhance their universities and so on and so forth. So that's the battle that we've been trying to fight since 72 after Sam Cunningham, when Bear Bryant said, yo, we got to go recruit cats like this. Now we're trying to get it back on that stage. And that's the battle. But again, we got to understand where to flow. Whether it's we created blues, we created rock and roll, we created country music, we created hip hop. We took 2 turntables, a microphone, and an extension cord, plugged it into a bass lamp, and called it a block party, and look at hip hop now. So we got the capability and the talent. We just got to get everyone to buy in and give back to each person in each school.
And we got to stop the hate. We got to stop the
That's
hate.
the main.
You know, it's so funny. I was just on a panel the other day, Chris, and man, first of all, my nickname come from basketball. I love basketball. I love me some basketball. So I'm a basketball connoisseur. I love it. And I'm like, I've never heard Tom Brady and Joe Montana in a conversation about who's the best and who was the greatest. But why in the world are we constantly talking about LeBron and Jordan? Like, why? Like, come on. Why we got to put our brothers against one another all the darn time? Yeah. We got to stop that nonsense. And we don't have to pull one down because we're praising the other one. We can leave them up. It's different attributes of different men. Please, I like Chris and AI. I ain't got to tear Chris down to love AI. I ain't got to tear AI down to love Chris. I ain't got to do that, man.
And Prime,
as a culture, we got to stop that, man.
It's one of the things that we had a conversation about in the bubble, and we've been talking about as players for a while now, is that, you know, even the networks, right? When a team is about to play, sometimes they don't even say the teams. You know what I'm saying? They might not necessarily say the Lakers versus the Heat. You know, they might say Jimmy Butler versus LeBron James, you know? And so as players, and even myself, we've had a hard time, like, not being conditioned to that, right? And so we talk about it as players now, is that we got to realize that, listen, I'm a competitor. I don't care if it's my mama, it's my brother, whatever it is. When we compete, and I'm gonna compete. But at the end of the day, I still love my mama. Right. You know what I mean? So same thing with us. We can compete at the highest level against each other, but we still got to be able to find ways to come together and elevate each other and just collaborate, right? So it's been dope. Like I said, in the bubble, I get excited when I look at Support Black College's Instagram and I see another player, you know what I mean, like wearing a hoodie. I seen Devin Booker with it on. I see this guy with it on. I'm like, that's what we need. It's not like, oh, this fool jocking my style. Like no, heck no. Like we need each other to be doing this, to elevate it. And it doesn't matter if you went to a HBCU or not. You know, it's like once it clicks and you start to get educated on it, let's get to work.
That's real informative of what you just said, Prime and CP, right? Because it's crazy because now you're aware of the marketing style, right? And we all know the power of that television, right? And see, the NBA kind of adopted that for like, let me ask y'all this. To this day, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy to me. To this day, do you know the most watched NCAA basketball game ever?
Yes.
I don't know.
1979, Magic versus Bird, Michigan State versus Indiana State. That's the most watched game ever to this day. So, Prime, think about it. We ain't even have TVs or color TV in the hood back then, but it's still the most watched game to this day. And nobody, no disrespect to Michigan State and Indiana State, that ain't why they were tuning in. It was because we had this black dude and this white dude. So the NBA was like, yo, in 1979, this is the most marketed thing. David Stern was like, yo, I'm hip to game. You know, we got guys taking dope and all this stuff, and ain't nobody in the stands. Let's use that same marketing tool, and that's where it became Magic versus Bird, right? And they put them together, and that's how they marketed it on NBC or Game of the Week, and it's continued on and on and on. And I kind of studied this. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So I looked up the most watched, the highest rated sports movie of all time. And I said, man, let me see what this is. It was Blindside, right? Blindside. And we already know what that is. It's like, yo, got this big black dude and now this white woman coming to save the day. Then I said, well, what's the next highest grossing sports movie of all time?
Remember the title?
It was Rocky.
Rocky?
Right? Oh. And let's be honest, nobody care about no Italian guy running through Philly, hitting baby back ribs and all. No, they had an antagonist with Apollo Creed, who was based off Muhammad Ali, and they bought that in. So they've been doing that for so long, and they've been able to market that. The highest, and this blew my mind. Before pay-per-view, the highest grossing boxing match ever was Larry Holmes versus Jerry Cooney, right?
Wow.
Again, black, white, the great white hope, and da-da-da. So it's almost like that's their marketing MO to put people against each other, especially black and white. And we got to the point where we kind of put black and black against each other. And you're right, man, we got to get away from that because it fuels a different type of hatred. And I said, I'm never going to do that again when we lost Kobe, because what happens is when you do that, you lose the respect of the greatness of each individual, whether it was Bron, MJ, Kobe, all of them great, let them be. Right? Yeah. Jalen Ramsey, he great with, I seen Prime Prime ain't even go back to the huddle when he played. He just stood over here. Like he ain't got to go back to the huddle because he on your best lockdown defender. That's different type of stuff. Right? And so you ain't gonna see that no more. You know what I'm saying? But now we can still respect Jalen Ramsey and all these other dog corners, Asante Samuels, without disrespecting Prime too. You follow what I'm saying? So yeah, I think y'all hit that nail on the head, man. And I think it's great for brothers like us and so many more who has influence and a responsibility to frequently get together on these calls, because what you're gonna find, Prime, it ain't like that. Everybody gonna talk that. It ain't like that. Right. It ain't like that. You got so many cats mad at you right now simply because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just what it is. And it's the same thing. And so as you ascend to another level, society has dangled a carrot and said, only one of y'all can get this. And if you don't get it, then shame on you. And so we've done it with NBA championships. We've done it with Hall of Fame jackets. We've done it with coaches and opportunities. And so we feel like, yo, if we don't get this carrot that everybody dangling in front of us, we some trash. Right? So society has convinced us, Charles Barkley have no value whatsoever because he never won a championship. Right. And there will never be another Charles Barkley. There'll be another Bron and all them. We may not see it, but a 6'5" power forward that dominate like that, it'll never be another one of them. You know what I'm saying? But society has said, since you ain't got no ring on your hand, you trash. You know what I'm saying? So I agree, man.
Chris, man, it takes brothers like you to keep this going, man. Please, man, because
listen.
You gotta understand all this stuff that Bell's spitting right now. I need this. Bell, I'm hitting you right after this. I need them numbers. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna phone stalk you. Call me back. But Chris, keep this going, man.
No doubt, fellas. I appreciate y'all, and I'm here whenever. Y'all know I'm serious. Whenever.
Hey, no doubt, Chris. I appreciate your Prime. I DM'd you my number on IG.
I'm going to get it right now.
So hit me up, text me, man, and anytime. I'm always here. You're the reason we here. And you don't even know that, but I got to give you, I'm showing all this love. I got to, man, shoot. Man.
I appreciate it, man.
Look, man, when I look in your mom's, your Hall of Fame speech broke me down. Boy, you don't even understand. Same situation. So give me a call, man. Give me a call.
My last thing. Chris, you alluded to something earlier, man. Not only the humbleness I saw of you years ago when we did the AT&T thing, but the last time I saw you, you was with Pop.
Yeah.
With your dad.
Yeah.
And even seeing you with your son in commercials, so you don't understand how that affects me, man. Like, I don't really have homies that's really, really down with me that ain't good fathers. If you want to roll with me like that, if you ain't taking care of your babies, we ain't got nothing in common. So real. Just the man you are, and you get it from your father, and you continue to. I love it, man, and that's another reason that I'm crazy about you, man, because the father you are, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Listen, best to the families, man. I stay on here all day with y'all. I appreciate y'all taking out the time, and I mean that when I say it. Like, it ain't about just what school I'm all of them. So if you need me at Jackson State, let me know. Bill, you already know how we rocking in Central. So y'all just let me know. All right.
Appreciate you, boss, man.
Prime, love, man. Take care of yourself, brother.
All right, Bill, I'm hitting you, boss.
My man. Take care.
The urgency to create change is at an all-time high. Uniting communities to be the change we need to see. It's on us to challenge each other to do even more. One time for the hometown, 2 times. And this is us following back on that call to action and putting together a plan to go into the communities of colors and to see change that we all want to see.
A huge disconnect between the people in the position of power and the people who have to go through that shit every single day.
It's changed the way you view what's possible, as well as just sticking to what you know is right.
There's never been this much momentum behind the movement for social equity. I'm just trying to do my best and my due diligence.
I know a lot of the inmates, they just want hope. You know, they want people to not forget about them.
It's okay to talk about things that are going on, things that bother you. So I think that we have to get rid of that negative stigma. We thought we could make more of a statement staying here and playing in front of the world. Together, our voice would be much bigger.
For the kids who just want to make it out, and nobody ever wanted to believe them.
Welcome back. Welcome back. What a great day. What a great day.
Yes, it was so great.
But
I love this. I love hosting this
beautiful.
with you. Like, this
we
is,
family.
We are family.
Plus we HBC with love.
We are. St. Aug, what's up?
Aggie Pride, what's up?
St. Aug, what's up?
AGGIEPRIDE. But it's not even over because we still have the HBCU homecoming concert. It's not a homecoming without a concert.
And I gotta hold it down for Big Lotto. Mulatto's performing, Ari Lennox performing, Moneybag Yo, Black Youngster. Who else? We got 2 Chainz. Titty 2 Necklace. Yeah, we got him. We got all these dope performers coming up to grace the stage. They're gonna shut it down. I cannot wait.
But before we get ready for that, right now, go to Support Black College IG Live. Tune in for a DJ segment by my boy J Murph out of Howard. HU, what up?
St. Aug, what up?
Aggie Pride, what up?
St. Aug, what up?